Jaipur, on behalf of Jaipur branch of CI, RC of ICI, ICA Rakesh Soni, convener of this BCM, welcome all of you. Respected CA Abhishek Ji Sharma, Regional Council Member, Sachin Ji Jain, Regional Council Member, CA Akash Bargoti Ji, Chairman of Jaipur branch, CA Ankit Maheshwari Ji, Secretary of Jaipur branch, CA Kuldeep Gupta Ji, and all my professional colleagues attending this seminar, I welcome all of you. On the topic of today's topic is SME Empowerment with Capital Markets. Friends, today's first session speaker is CA Amar Kakaria Ji, who will enlighten on the topic value creation with capital market and role of CAs. Welcome, Amar Ji. Friends, second session speaker is CA Jayesh by Taori Ji, who will enlighten on the topic SME IPO alternate source of finance. Welcome, Jayesh bhai. Now I invite Chairman of Jaipur branch CA Akash Bargoti Ji for a formal welcome address. Akash Ji, please.
Thank you, Rakesh sir. Central Council, Regional Council Member Abhishek Sharma Ji, Regional Council Member Sachin Kumar Ji, my colleagues Kuldeep Gupta Ji and Secretary Ankit Maheshwari Ji, and speaker for today's session, Amar Kakaria Ji and Jayesh Taori Ji. I welcome you all in this VCM on SME Empowerment with Capital Markets. And I would appreciate the efforts of our regional council member Abhishek Sharma Ji, who took this initiative. Took this initiative to have such a nice discussion on this unique topic, that is SME empowerment with capital markets. And I think we are very much obliged and with, क्योंकि ये ऐसे टॉपिक्स हैं जो जनरली हम लोग जयपुर में डील नहीं करते हैं या जयपुर में बात नहीं करते हैं. एंड आज के टाइम को देख के बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट है, जहाँ मोस्ट ऑफ दी जो अपन देख रहे हैं, जो आईपीओ की जो लाइन लग रही है, एंड द काइंड ऑफ एवरी कंपनी इज गोइंग फॉर हिज आईपीओ, एंड इस सिनेरियो में एसएमई सेक्टर भी पीछे नहीं है. तो आज की सिचुएशन को डील करते हुए बहुत ही यूनिक टॉपिक है, एंड मैं अभिषेक जी का बहुत ही तरीके से शुक्रिया हूँ कि वो एक अच्छा यूनिक टॉपिक ढूंढ के लाए, एंड उसी तरीके से यूनिक स्पीकर्स भी ढूंढ के लाए हैं, सी हमारे काकरिया जी एंड जयेश तावरी जी. So I welcome you all, both the speakers. Thank you very much, sir. Over to Rakesh ji. Rakesh sir, आप
Thank you, Akash ji. Friends, our young and dynamic leader CA Abhishek Ji Sharma is with us, and now I invite CA Abhishek Ji for the opening remark of this BCM. Abhishek Ji, please.
Thank you, Rakesh Soni Ji, convener of this VCM and elder brother of mine. Respected C. Amar Kakaria Ji, speaker of the program. Respected CS Jayesh Taori Ji, speaker of the program. CA Sachin Kumar Jain Ji, my colleague in the regional council and good friend of mine. C. Akash Bargoti Ji, chairman Jaipur branch. C. Ankit Maheshwari Ji, secretary Jaipur branch, and entire managing committee of Jaipur branch. First of all, I am thankful to Jaipur branch for organizing this wonderful and different program, SME Empowerment with Capital Markets. And I'm thankful to Rakesh Soni Ji, because we have discussed, Rakesh Ji and me have discussed, and we have heard Amar Ji in a different program, in a different platform. He was organizing this program, and we have heard him. So Rakesh Ji and me have discussed that this type of program should also be organized for all the members, chartered accountant in Jaipur, Rajasthan particularly. So that's why this program is initiated to organize on behalf of Jaipur branch. And friends, believe me, the topic for this program is SME empowerment with capital markets. So earlier, the source of finance to the SME particularly were related only as far as bank finance is concerned. Either bank finance may be there, or some unsecured loan, or some other finances. But nowadays, when apart from venture capitaling and apart from this equity diversion and other fundraising techniques, this SME empowerment, between generation of funds to the capital market for SME segments particularly, is going to be a wonderful technique and a successful one also, with a low cost for generation of funds for the businesses, in particular with the MSMEs. Because as today's we are having this today with us, learned faculty Jayesh, who himself belongs to the NSE, so will elaborate in his session that what are the formalities need to be undertaken by the industries for their upcoming IPO, for their SME IPO and all, and how they can introduce their companies in the capital market. And most importantly, why this topic is relevant to all of us as a chartered accountant is we just need to understand the basics, how chartered accountant can play an important and vital role while arranging a company to be there in the SME platform, particularly for the NSE and BSE. So nowadays, I can see that in Rajasthan, particularly more than 20 to 25 companies in the SME platform have already been listed there with the NSE and BSE particularly. So friend, this is the time to just uplift ourselves and our clients for this new funding concept, for this MSME funding by listing their companies in the capital market. And because I will not take much of your time, because today we are having two technical speakers with us. See Amar Kakaria, who is a wonderful speaker and is a very knowledgeable person on this topic particularly. He will elaborate us that how chartered accounting will play a vital role while listing their rated companies and clients into this capital market. And Jayesh sir will also tell us the particularly SME IPO rated guidelines and prerequisites which are required for coming with the SME IPO. So all what I can say is that as we understand, the traditional area of practice is not having that much of scope, and the scope which was widened earlier is getting reduced day by day. We all understand the tax audit limit have been increased, GST audit have been eliminated. So the traditional practice scope is getting reducing day by day. So we have to convert ourselves and we have to choose these new lines of practices like this. Today's topic, what we are having, the SME IPO with and formation of the capital structure for the SME. So this is again a wonderful topic, and definitely it is an interesting topic and new topic. And I hope that if you all will give time next 2 hours to our speakers, and when we will finish it up after 2 hours. So after 2 hours, we will find that we ourselves will get the basic knowledge, whatever understanding we want to have for this SME capital empowerment. So without taking much of your all time, I want to conclude myself, and once again want to thank Jaipur branch of CIRC of ICAI and both the speakers for this wonderful program, and again to Rakesh Soniji to moderate and convene this program. Thank you very much, friends. Be safe. Third wave of corona is, we can perceive it in the southern region particularly, and I hope it should not become in this region and should be ended. But still, as per the government guidelines, we should follow all the things. We should follow the mask guideline. We should follow, again, COVID guidelines, whatever government asking us to follow. So thank you very much, friends. Take care of yourself. Jai Hind, Jai ICAI. Over to you, Rakesh Soniji. Rakesh ji, kindly unmute yourself, please.
Thank you, Abhishek ji. Our first session speaker, CA Amar Kakaria ji, is a young and brilliant speaker, and who has the in-depth knowledge on the topic, will enlighten on the topic value creation with capital market and role of CA. Friends, CA Amar Kakaria is having Limca book record, national record holder for being the youngest professional to complete CA, CS and CMA qualification in the first attempt with merit rank from all the three institutes at the age of 23 years only. He is having 20 plus years of post-qualification experience in the area of stock market, listing, merger and acquisition, investor relation, private equity, risk management, etc. He has worked with the large corporate including L&T, Tata Motors, Sesa Goa Group, etc. Besides contribution to the ICAI WRC reference manual, written many articles on the various topic of the journal and the newsletters published by all the three professional institutes, that is ICAI, CS and CMA. Regular speaker on the MSME, M&A, stock exchange, listing and other related topics with the various professional institutes. He had been part of the various committees set up by the regional council and the branch of the all three professional institutions. Friends, such a brilliant personality is with us. not taking much time, I invite CA Amar Kakaria ji to guide us on the subject assigned to him. CA Amar Kakaria ji, please.
Namaskar. Thank you, Rakesh ji, for all the wonderful introduction which you had given. Thank you, Abhishek ji. It was a pleasure to interact with you, and thank you very much, Jaipur branch, for having this session. I'm very happy to see such a participation in such a large number. There are more than 90 plus participants, and I sincerely hope that we shall be able to meet the expectations of the participants. In order to have this session more interactive, I sincerely request all of you to ask maximum queries what you can ask us, because Jayesh bhai, my learned friend from NSC, is very much there. This session is into two parts. First session, we shall be having overview as well as what kind of a role chartered accountants can play in this process of value creation. I'm just trying to share my screen. Is the screen visible over here? Is my screen visible?
Yes, Amar, it's visible.
Super. Thank you. So this session is split into two parts. In the first session, we are going to have a look at what kind of a role and what kind of value creation is happening with the capital market. What kind of a role of chartered accountants we can play in the process. In the second session, Jayesh bhai will take us through SME listing process. And it is a sincere request, if you're having any query at any point of time, please stop us in between and we can have a at-length discussion as per your convenience. So first of all, Khamagani from my side, though I'm staying in Maharashtra, all my forefathers, they used to be part of Rajasthan, and it's indeed a privilege to be here with you on this August evening. And I'm thankful to Rakesh ji, Abhishek ji, Jaipur branch for the same. And let's start with this super session on the magic of capital markets. What kind of value creation can be possible with capital markets, particularly for MSMEs? Like what Abhishek ji had told, MSMEs, they form a major chunk. They form a major chunk. And how is it impacting? If we see the kind of MSMEs before we get into capital markets, particularly pre-COVID era, we are a country of around 135 crore people. 135 is a huge number. And there are more than 6.5 crore enterprises which are operating across the country. Of course, the kind of numbers what are there is 6.5 crore is a huge number. Out of this, around 25% MSMEs are registered. Why MSMEs are so important? Practically more than 45% of the industrial output is with MSMEs. They account for 50% of the exports. Around 1/3 of the domestic workforce is also employed with them. And practically, when Indian economy, we are so happy that we are having fast growth rate of 7-8%. MSMEs were always growing in double digit, 10, 11, 12%. They contribute around 1/3 of the GDP. Such a vibrant sector, but after COVID, practically there is a doom. Why? But before that, there is another niche area which is called startup. India is the third largest ecosystem for startup. There is a Startup India program which is having more than 100 schemes. A lot of concessions are given to them. Who can be startup? Anybody. It can be partnership firm, LLP, private company. If you are in existence for 10 years, you can be a startup, provided you should not be forming it by reconstructing the existing business. Annual turnover should be less than 100 crore and it should be having innovative approach. There are so many startups like Ola is there, Oyo is there, Zomato. Zomato is also a startup. I'm sure some of us, some of the participants might be stakeholders in this company as well. Zomato, which got listed in the last month. So friends, everything was going on well. We were having more than 10% year-on-year growth rate for SMEs. And they were doing fantastic. Startups were also doing fantastic. There were so many unicorns. What is unicorn? The startup which is having more than $1 billion valuation. It is called unicorn. So when everything was going on so well, something happened which was extreme. Then came COVID-19 somewhere in the last year. For the last 1.5 years, all the MSMEs, all the startups, they're struggling very, very badly. You might be seeing a blank screen, a black screen. Friend, this screen is blank, the screen is black, but this kind of a darkness is filled in the lives of the people, in the lives of the promoters of MSMEs, in the lives of the promoters of startups. What is the solution for that? Is there any solution? Can there be something which can be done for this? It's raat ki kabhi subah hogi. And that's what is the question, what many of us are asking. Practically, yes, it is possible. In front of you is Phoenix. Phoenix is the same bird from Greek mythology, which is known for rising from the ashes. As a chartered accountant, we are having a very important role to help the companies in this COVID-19 crisis. Why it is so? Why chartered accountants should be playing a role and helping the companies? Why chartered accountants should be playing a critical role and helping the companies in the COVID-19 crisis? I'm not saying because I'm a chartered accountant and you are chartered accountant, not at all. We are the people who are experts into taxation. We understand finance very well. We are masters of accounts, auditing, risk management, assurance. We are having fantastic knowledge. We are spread right from Kashmir to Kanyakumari and Kutch to Arunachal Pradesh. We are spread across every part of the country. That being the case, who can be the best person who can be suitable to lead the companies at this point of time when they're struggling for the finance? If Phoenix can rise from the ashes, certainly, if each and every chartered accountant is going to decide, then certainly he can make wonders and he can take many of the MSMEs out. How it can be. Abhishek ji had told us most of the MSMEs in the past, they were dependent on the debt funding. Of course, that is a fact. And even today, most of the companies, whether they are large companies, mid-sized companies, or small companies, they are dependent on the debt. But there are many companies, not many, there are handful of companies which are thought to do something differently, which are explore a new avenue, which is capital market. And that's how they're creating a lot of value, how that value is getting created. Interesting company which is in front of you, Zomato. I'm sure many of you might have heard about it. Many of you might have invested. It's a very interesting company, friends, because in the last year they had got a turnover of 2,500 crore rupees. Somebody has raised a hand. You can unmute yourself and you can ask a query as well, please. Mr. Raj. May I request admin to unmute Mr. Raj? Possible? No problem. Yeah. So Zomato is a very interesting case in which last year they were having turnover of around 2,500 crore rupees. But having losses of the same amount, they came out with an IPO, and at the time of IPO, their valuation was 60,000 crore rupees. Its IPO was in the last month, 60,000 crore rupees valuation. Just prior to 5 months of the IPO, their valuation was $5 billion. 60,000 crore is a fairly big amount because you take Domino's, McDonald's, Burger King all put together, the valuation is 60,000 crore rupees. You take some of the top hotel chains which are listed like Indian Hotels, East India Hotels, Palette Hotels, and few other hotel chains. Valuation is hardly 50,000 crore rupees, less than that. So practically speaking, what is there in Zomato, which is having an app that is not available with specialty restaurant chains or top hotel chains, why they're getting such kind of valuation? Friends, it is a technology. It is the kind of new avenues which all the startups are going to throw. And believe me, friends, if you see the total value creation which is happening in case of Zomato, that is really mind-boggling. The company got listed in the last month. Opening price, it was more than 90,000 crore rupees valuation. Even today, even after 2 weeks of getting listed, it is having more than 110,000 crore rupees of valuation. All this thing is possible only when Zomato got listed. It might be a small step by Zomato, but it is a giant leap for all the startups. The happiest thing for us to know, there are two corporate professionals, finance professionals who are involved in the process. CA Akriti Chopra ji, and second is CS Sandhya Sethia ji. All these two young dynamic professionals have created huge value for Zomato. In fact, CA Akriti Chopra ji is one of the founders of Zomato. She is also having stake in the company. And as per media reports, the value of the stake which is owned by Akriti ji is more than 150 crore rupees. So believe me, friends, if a chartered accountant is taking stake in the company and he's helping that company to take it to the next level by accessing the capital market, the kind of value creation which is possible in case of Zomato, that can be possible for other eligible and good companies as well. Perhaps somebody will say, Zomato is a 12-year company and it's a new emerging area, and there are very few companies, there are very few technical experts who are available in this domain, and it is not possible because most of us might be associated with old economy stock, old economy sectors. Some of us might be into trading, some of us might be into cement, steel. Such kind of clients might be associated with us, right? Quite possible. So what happens with those companies? This is the most favorite slide of the entire presentation for me. In fact, I often ask the people, there are 5 numbers in front of you, 85, 51, 24, 17, 16. What kind of these numbers are? Sometimes people say this is the bank balance which was prior to COVID, and now it has come down from 85 to 16. People are even saying this is oxygen count. Some people are told about the employees which had come down gradually, but it is not the case, friends. This is something which is the valuation, which is the net worth of top 5 richest Indians. It starts with Mr. Mukesh Ambani. It's $85 billion. $1 billion is approximately 7,500 crore rupees. You yourself can do the calculation how much is $85 billion. Followed by Mr. Gautam Adani, Mr. Shiv Nadar, Mr. R.K. Damaniji, Mr. Ujay Kotak. All these 5 people, these 5 people are from the Forbes 500 list, which was released in the last quarter. And you see the kind of valuation what they're having. This is something which is mind-boggling. You will say this kind of valuation is possible because they are big companies. Of course, they are very big companies and they are market leaders. And they're market leaders not today, but they're market leaders for a fairly long time in their respective industries. All these industries are diversified. Mr. Ambani is into petrochemical, retail, telecom. Mr. Adani is into infrastructure. He's also into commodities. Mr. Shivnadar is the king of IT. Mr. Damani is a retail tycoon. Mr. Uday Kotak is a banking wizard. But if you see the common factor, what is the common factor? All these people, they're staying at different locations. All these people, they're having different religions, different castes. All these people, they're having different mindset, different age groups. So what is common in there? Perhaps a large company is common, but the most important factor, which is common for all of them, is having a listed company. All these promoters, all these guys, they're having very, very large listed companies, and which is helping them to create value. Its numbers are as old as last quarter. Practically, when entire economy was bleeding, not only in India, but across the world, when everything was bleeding, capital markets were going up. And silently and it's very, very strongly, these people were in a position to create the value, which is unprecedented value. When the capital markets are trading at all-time high, lifetime high at this point of time, the kind of value creation, what is happening with large companies, is something which is mind-boggling. And this is not restricted only to the large companies. This is applicable across the sectors, and we are going to have a look at that as to how capital markets are helping to create a value across the categories and what kind of a role chartered accountants can play in the process. So let's start with this session on magic of capital market and what kind of value creation can be possible with capital market. There are three important questions which we need to understand: why we should be getting listed, where we should be getting listed, and how we should be getting listed. Why? What is the importance of stock exchange listing? What are the pros and cons which are applicable? Where will be getting listed and what are the associated benefits? There are different stock exchange, there are different types of securities. We'll have a quick look over that, overview of that. And third most important thing, how? Because what is the role which is applicable for chartered accountant and what kind of strategies are applicable? I'm sure everybody is speaking about IPO. IPO is the most famous strategy, the most popular strategy, but there are more than half a dozen strategies besides IPO which can be useful for getting listed. And believe me, friends, there are numerous large companies which have taken such strategies and make them really valuable companies in the long term. And by doing this thing, I'm sure wherever there is a high value transaction, there are always some risk. And if there are risks, there is a precaution which is necessary. So there'll be a word of caution on that. And finally, we'll have a look what kind of emerging opportunities are there for chartered accountants in the process. So why to get listed? Basic question. Somebody will say listing. Of course, I like to get listed, but why? If you see practically, particularly hundreds of years ago, India, not hundreds of years ago, I'm saying over 100 years ago, at that point of time, India was ruled by Britishers. Prior to that, they were ruled by some other nobody else. And even at that point of time, people, a lot of people, majority of the people, they were having a lot of problems of raising funds. There was huge scarcity of fund. In fact, it was very difficult to run even a family. So if somebody is having some excess fund, what people used to do? They used to bury it under the tree or keep it inside the home so that it should be safeguarded. Over a period of time, Britishers came, they started banks and post offices were started, people started depositing money in the banks. After that, India got independence. So government of India was kind to start stock exchanges across different states. Every state is having almost one stock exchange. Maharashtra was having two, Gujarat was having three stock exchanges. So those regional stock exchanges come, a lot of awareness was done about the power of capital market. People started investing money in regional stock exchange companies. And over a period of time, a lot of value was getting created in the process. So people started identifying new avenues to put their money into flats, agriculture plots, jewelries, banks, and finally at the stock exchange. And particularly for last few years, after demonetization, people have started putting in money into mutual funds. It's said mutual fund hai to sahi hai, and that is very true. Mutual fund is a very popular technique. And a lot of sessions are being organized nowadays. How to time the market, how to maximize your profits from the market, how to identify right stock, FNO, exit the market, time the market. A lot of sessions are organized. But friends, if you see carefully, what is happening is that, particularly from the businessman point of view, because we are going to speak about the entrepreneurs, which are how and how listing is getting helping them. All those businessmen who are putting in so much of effort, who are doing all kind of Superman kind of a job because they're responsible for purchases, sales, marketing, finance, regulations, bank coordination, everything. So after doing this, whatever profit they are generating, they are investing that profit into shares of other listed companies, or they're putting that profit into mutual funds. My simple question to you is that if those promoters are understanding their business well, if they're really doing very well in their businesses, then practically speaking, why they should not be getting their companies listed? Why can't we have more sessions as to how promoters can get their company listed and create value for themselves? Can there be a possibility, particularly when government of India has taken such a fantastic measure like SME listing around 10 years ago, from 2012 onwards, and there be something like a promoter who's understanding his business so well, get his company listed. For SME listing, you can even have 50 shareholders. But in a country of 140 crore people, can you identify 140 shareholders for yourself and create value for yourself? That's what we are going to look into it. The theme is very simple. अपने रास्ते खुद चुनिए, अपने सपने खुद देखिए, अपना हौसला खुद चाहिए, क्योंकि आपको अपने से बेहतर और कोई शख्स नहीं जानता. The logic is simple. If I understand my business well, and if I'm having confidence on myself, why should I invest my money into some other person's company whom I have never met, and I create a value for myself by getting myself listed? So friends, how does it start? We are a country of 135 crore people. There are 6.5 crore MSMEs, out of which around 1.5 crore MSMEs might be registered. There are NCA registered companies, which is again a niche sector. Around 13 lakh companies are there. The most niche area is called as startups, which is around 50,000 recognized startups are there. Around 1.5 lakh startups will be registered. But the beauty is, out of among all these things, everything is in abundance. In fact, you take any category of people, they're also into multiplication. But how many listed companies are there? There are hardly 6,000 companies. There are 4 stock exchanges in India. We are going to have a look at them. But in a country like India, which is having 135 crore, more than 135 crore people, we're having hardly 6,000 companies. That is something which is showing the uniqueness of the entire process. And it is always said, there is always a less competition at the top. And believe me, friends, out of the 6,000 companies which are listed, hardly 25% companies will be there, which will be attracting investments on a regular basis. Because there'll be many companies which are on a regional stock exchange like Kolkata. Around 2,000 companies are listed over there. They are actually out. And if you see balance 4,000 companies, particularly the investors, they are very choosy about the companies which they are investing. And among those 6,000 companies, effectively, hardly 1,400 companies will be there, which will be getting regular investment. So we are having a country of 140 crore people, but hardly 1,400 companies are attracting all the investments, and they are creating all the value for themselves. And that's why if you see all the guys, all the people who are appearing in the richest list, Fortune 500 list, they will always be connected with listed companies, either as a promoter or as a person who is having substantial stake. Believe me, friends, this is not the case only in India. It is happening across the world. You take any country of your choice, see the richest people over there, the people who are having the maximum net worth, maximum valuation for themselves, those people will be linked with the capital markets, either directly or indirectly. It is rightly said, there is always less competition at the top. But what is the mindset? What is happening? Why people are so afraid to get listed? Many of the times, the psychology is, भाई मैं छोटा हूँ, I'm happy to, मैं छोटा रहने में खुश हूँ, because I'm the king, मैं राजा हूँ, मैं मेरे business का राजा हूँ. It's a perfect theory. If you're having a 50 crore business, you're happy, you're having 5 crore rupees of profit, that is more than sufficient for you. As an unlisted company, you're doing very well. But what happens in a situation like COVID-19? There is a problem, because such kind of situations may be coming since COVID-19 is happening on a global level, on a mass scale. But for every individual, there is always an up and down which keep on happening. So what happens whenever there is any up and down for unlisted company? Practically speaking, they will be having huge challenges if they want to survive in a situation like COVID. If you see, at this point of time, most of the companies which are suffering, they're MSMEs. Why? They're having limited access to fund, and the promoter, he's having 100% shares with them. So that's why there is no risk which is getting outsourced to other people. Entire risk is on the promoter. Had it been a listed company, they would have got superior access, risk management would have been better. And practically speaking, with the kind of strong promoters and strong shareholders, you're having faster growth avenues as well. There are always some pros for an unlisted company, because there will be very less compliances if you're an unlisted company. And you can maintain maximum secrecy. If you're having some trade secrets, you need not disclose your profitability and other parameters to others, to general public. And you can have complete control over the operations. There are no public shareholders who are going to interfere in the process, which is not the case with listed companies. Since we're having access to the public money, You cannot have maximum secrecy. There has to be periodical disclosure, which is mandatory. Perhaps the kind of statutory compliances which are applicable for listed companies, they're way higher than unlisted company. And there is always a higher interference from the shareholders. And but that being the case, if you want to create a value, then practically speaking, listing is going to give you the platform. So if you're ready for the cons of unlisted company and listed company, listed company is going to have maximum value for yourself. How does it happen? Typically, if you see the process, if anybody has to start a business, what will you do? The first person whom will be getting connected will be a chartered accountant. He'll be calling the CA, sir, मुझे काम करना है and I'm planning to start my own business. मैं क्या करूँ? We'll say, भाई आप देखो, and you take a trial run. That person will take a trial run either as a proprietorship or as a partnership. If he's successful, then he'll again call us. He'll say, sir, मेरा बराबर चल रहा है. Now I want to set up a company. He'll set up a company. That is a starting point. India, we are having 15 lakh odd companies. Fantastic number. Then you want to take it to the next level. Angel investors will come in the picture. There are a lot of angel funds which are active in India. Mumbai Angels, very popular. Delhi Angels, Indian Angels. There are multinational funds as well, like Kairatsu, doing fantastically well. But honestly, according to my limited experience of more than 2 decades, most of the times, particularly 75% of the time, the angel investors are your family, friends, and relatives. They understand your business well, and that's why they're going to invest in your company. Once you are getting some funding from the angel investors, you take them to P and VC funds. Friends, we are having around 6.5 crore enterprises. We are having around 13 lakh companies. In India, at this point of time, there are less than 1,000 registered PE and VC funds. And if you see active VC and PE funds, there might be less than 100 who are doing business at least on a quarterly basis or something. So there are less than 100 PE and VC funds. But still, if you're a good company having good options, you may be able to attract PE and VC funding from funds. Then by taking that fund, you'll be scaling up the business, you'll be acquiring other companies, you'll be consolidating. If any of the businesses are unrelated, you'll be exiting from there. And then your target will be to get listed on a stock exchange. You'll be getting listed on NSE or BSE, or as per your choice. And then final destination will be global fundraising. Many of the funds, I'm sure, while doing chartered accountancy, we might have studied ADR, GDR, FCCBs. In fact, I got an opportunity to work with FCCBs when I was part of L&T, and we had got it listed abroad. And it was a fantastic exercise. So practically speaking, when you are having access to the global fundraising program, you're having access to the global investors, nobody can stop you from becoming a leading company. But friends, when we started our process from an unlisted company and going to leading company, this process is going to take 30, 40, 50 years. And this is something which is a huge time. Not many people can manage to survive for such a long time. So what government of India thought, the stock exchange listing, which is the most important platform, can we prepone it? And they have taken a revolutionary step called SME listing. Since 2012, it's possible to get the company listed with negligible norms, with very minimum norms. And Jayesh is going to take us through that in the second session. I'm not going into detail about it, but my simple point is the process is going to take 30, 40, 50 years. Can we wait for such a long time? I'm sure all of us are going to live for 100 years. There is no doubt about it. But if you're going to live for 100 years, can we postpone everything? Can we postpone the value creation potential to the next year? According to me, no. And if there are hardly 6,000 listed companies in our great country of 135 crore Indians, can we do something for the betterment of our companies, for the betterment of our clients, and most effective for the value creation of our Indian economy? That is something which we are going to achieve through SME listing. How does it work? Where we should be getting listed? Second important question. We saw why to get listed. Now the second important question is where to get listed. I believe many of us might have got married. I'm sure you will be remembering as to while finding a spouse for yourself, the kind of care what you have taken. If you're having a child, even by selecting a school, you might be very cautious as to where he'll be getting admission and how the school is, what kind of activities are being done over there. Forget about taking admission for the school. If you want to purchase house or residence or office, you will be extremely cautious. Even a small activity like opening a bank account, you're so cautious as to where my bank account is. Should I open an account with cooperative bank or nationalist bank or private bank or multinational bank? If you're so cautious for such a small thing like opening a bank account, you should be extremely careful as to where you're getting listed. Why it is so. Let's have a look at that. Friends, SEBI is the apex regulator for capital markets. I'm sure all of us are aware of it. And there are 9 stock exchanges which are registered with SEBI. Earlier, there were many. Once upon a time, there were more than 2 dozen stock exchanges. But over a period of time, particularly in the last decade, most of the regional stock exchanges got closed. So there are 9 stock exchanges which are spread across 3 cities. Mumbai is having the maximum chunk, having 6 stock exchanges. There are 2 stock exchanges with Gujarat, that is GIFT City, and one regional stock exchange is there in Kolkata. So as far as commodity, currency, and rate is concerned, there are 5 stock exchanges: MCX, all of us are aware, Indian Commodity Exchange, then NCDEX, these 3 are in Mumbai, India International Exchange, and NSE IFSC, these 2 are in GIFT City. Since our today's focus is on equity, we are not going to discuss about commodity, currency, rate. Just keep them aside. There are 4 stock exchanges for equity and equity derivatives. National Stock Exchange, the largest stock exchange, is from NSE. Second is Bombay Stock Exchange, the oldest stock exchange of India. Metropolitan Stock Exchange, which is having hardly 12 years of existence. It is again from Mumbai. All these 3 are in Mumbai, which is an MSCI is the newest stock exchange. And there is one regional stock exchange, which is Kolkata Stock Exchange, which is in West Bengal. So what is the specialization for each of those stock exchanges? NSE, it's a nationwide stock exchange. It is established just 30 years ago. It's not even 30-year-old. Its index is Nifty 50. I'm sure everybody is aware of. It is the largest stock exchange of India, which is having approximately 700 listed companies, and its SME platform is called as NSE Emerge. Vishma is going to take us through NSE Emerge. Second is Bombay Stock Exchange, which is again a nationwide stock exchange, which is established in 1875. Friends, we are going to celebrate 75th independence over the weekend. India got independence 75 years ago. Bombay Stock Exchange is in existence for almost 150 years. Its flagship index is Sensex, which is having 30 companies. It is the oldest stock exchange of Asia, which is having 4,700 odd listed companies. And its SME platform is known as BSE SME. There are only 2 SME platforms. One is NSE Emerge, another is BSE SME. Third stock exchange is Metropolitan Stock Exchange of India, which is again a nationwide stock exchange, which is established in 2008. It's 12-year-old. Flagship index is SX40, which is having 40 companies. It is the newest stock exchange, which is having 300 odd listed companies, and there is no SME platform. And fourth stock exchange, which is actually not working at this point of time officially, which is a regional stock exchange, which is established 100 years ago in 1908, more than 100 years. There is no flagship index because there is no trading which is happening. It is the second oldest stock exchange. It is having over 2,000 companies. There is no SME platform. And more than 99% of the trading happens on BSE and NSE both. And NSE is undisputed market leader with more than 90% market share in equity and equity derivative segment. So these are 4 stock exchanges which are very important for all of us to know, and we need to decide exactly which stock exchange will be better for our clients to get listed. So when it comes to listing, all of us speak about equity. Equity is the preferred option to get listed, but there are other instruments as well which can be listed. Equity is one option. There can be differential voting rights shares like Tata Motors, my ex-employer, differential voting rights shares. There are non-convertible redeemable preference shares as well. Non-convertible redeemable preference shares can be listed since 2013. SEBI has allowed that. They issued regulation for that as well. Commercial paper, it can be listed. It is possible to get listed. Chennai Petro has done that. Their commercial papers are listed. Non-convertible debentures. Many companies have got NCDs listed, like L&T Finance. Again, my ex-employer, they have got it listed. Indian Hotels, their NCDs are listed. Shriram Transport Finance, their NCDs are listed. There are many companies. REITs and InvITs related to real estate and invest. These are few, but they're also listed. AIF, ETF, and mutual funds, they can also be listed. Municipal bonds, very interesting area. There are more than 2 dozen municipal corporations which have got their bonds listed. Particularly, even when recession was going on, the Yogi Adityanath ji, he had come to Mumbai to get municipal bonds of Lucknow listed on stock exchange. And last option is IDRs. What is IDR? We are aware about ADR, GDR, Indian companies going abroad to get their depository receipts listed over there. IDR is a solution for that. When any of the foreign companies they want to come to India, they can access Indian capital markets by getting IDRs listed. So these are wide range of listing instruments. Mostly and the most popular thing is equity listing, and that's what is happening in the form of equity. And many of the companies they have gone for DVR, that is differential voting rights shares. So this is the most important thing. But as a professional, as a chartered accountant, we need to be aware of all these instruments, and we can guide our clients to have different kind of listing avenues possible for listing. What is the benefit of listing? Why I should be taking all the pains to understand all those instruments, to understand what stock exchange is doing what. Friends, listing is a virtue. Virtue is what? A good thing which is going to have a perpetual impact. If the company is good and if it is having a good project, it can create a huge value, and that value can be a perpetual basis. So that is something which is achievable in case of listing. Practically, you take any commercial transaction, somebody is going to make the payment, another person is going to receive the payment. So there will be something, somebody will be losing something while somebody will be gaining some other thing. It doesn't happen with listing. Value creation, which can happen on a regular basis if the company really has got good project. Second most important thing, you are having direct access to the fund. Believe me, during the time of recession, during the time of economic crisis due to COVID-19, the listed companies were most comfortable to access the capital markets. They were most comfortable to access the fund because they were having direct access to the fund. In fact, SEBI has taken a lot of measures positively and given a lot of relaxations even for listed companies to, like for example, for rights issue, have come out with a liberalized guidelines which help listed companies to tap funds at a in a most timely manner. It happened because they were listed, and shareholders also reciprocated because practically that's what would add a lot of value to them, include brand equity. At any point of time, the companies which are having better corporate governance norms, better disclosures, they always enjoy higher brand equity. And that is something which is a global thumb rule. All of us are aware of it. Even attracting to VC and PE funds. If you remember, around 15 years ago, a lot of PE and VC funds, they were so active in India. Whenever we used to open Economic Times or Business Standard, there used to be news about a lot of new investments which were made by them. But if you see currently, hardly any investments are happening. Why? Most of the PE funds, VC funds, they got stuck in the investments which I had done earlier. But when you are a listed company, you are actually having access to the capital market. So even VC and PE funds, they can dilute their stake through open market and they can get rid of whatever investment they want to get into. Next interesting benefit is tax benefit. And this is something which is very, very important. We are seeing all four stock exchanges. And this tax benefit is applicable for all companies which are listed companies. Somebody will say, I'm aware about NSE and BSE, but suppose the company is listed on Kolkata Stock Exchange, what is the benefit available? For argument's sake, there are out of those 2,000 companies, many of the companies, particularly small companies, they might be having some business or they might be having some assets or they might be having some industries which are associated with that company because they're old economic companies. So practically speaking, when somebody is planning to sell that company, those companies can be sold and whatever capital gain is coming, it will be subject to concessional tax rate. It is nowhere mentioned up till now that the companies has to be listed on a nationwide stock exchange to get a benefit of 10%. And practically speaking, even if you are going for offline sale or through the market, tax treatment will be same. That is 10% tax rate at this point of time. So across the categories, whether it is BSEs, NSE, or Kolkata Stock Exchange or MSCI, irrespective of the stock exchange what we are speaking about, the tax benefit is going to be applicable for you. That is 10%. Then when we are speaking about company, but when it comes to shareholders, you are having shares which offers you the maximum liquidity because they're like quasi currency. You can go in the market and you can sell the shares. So that being the case, if you are listed on a good stock exchange, I'm not speaking about the stock exchange like Kolkata, which is not functional right now. But if you're listed on a nationwide stock exchange, particularly top two stock exchanges, your company will be having a better liquidity at any point of time. Efficient risk distribution mechanism is very important because as an unlisted company, entire risk is on the promoter. As a listed company, I am getting an opportunity to share my risk with multiple other stakeholders, particularly financial and strategic partners. There are three important things. Last 3 points are very important. That is facilitating inorganic growth with M&A. I'm sure we might be aware about Hindustan Unilever, one of the largest FMCG companies in India. They acquired Glaxo Consumer Business a few years ago. It was a share swap. There was no cash transaction which happened. Another company, Procter and Gamble, they acquired Gillette again a few years ago. It was also share swap. A lot of businesses they have acquired companies, other companies, by swapping the shares. Typically, if you're a listed company, such transactions can happen very, very easily. Or if you're not a listed company, but if you intend to get listed, such transactions can be possible. But if you're an unlisted company and if you don't have any desire to get listed, it cannot happen. To give you an example, like Zomato. Zomato had acquired business of Uber Eats. Uber Eats, I'm sure Uber everybody is aware of, and Uber Eats was a food delivery business. Uber Eats was acquired by Zomato, and Uber has got 10% stake in Zomato, around 9.99% stake in Zomato. And practically speaking, that transaction was valued at $350 million. But Zomato always had an intention to get listed. Zomato has got listed, which is having valuation of around 1 lakh crore. And you yourself can calculate how much is the valuation of Uber Eats at this point of time. So that's what is the value creation which happened. And Uber Eats, it added a lot of value to Zomato, and Zomato's listing added a lot of value to Uber. It was a two-way reciprocating process. Promoting innovation and entrepreneurial spirit is very important. We are going to have a discussion about a very interesting platform, that is Innovators Growth Platform, an interesting initiative which is taken by SEBI recently, which is on the cards, which is not yet launched, but likely to be launched very soon, and accelerating growth engine to move to the next level. We had seen how value has been created by Ambani's, Adani's, Nadars, and Kotaks. We had seen the kind of value creation, what they were doing silently, even when the economy was bleeding, even when there was a lockdown, people were afraid of what is to be done. But practically speaking, those people were continued to work. They were continued to excel in their business activities, what they were doing. And the capital market was rewarding them silently with maximum value creation coming to their way. These are some of the benefits. In fact, if we are going to discuss about all the benefits which are associated, perhaps it can be a full session. I'm restricting myself to these other benefits. And because the third most important factor is how to get listed. How to get listed is the most important thing, my dear friends. We are speaking about Ambani's, the richest person of India. His father, Shri Dhirubhai Ambani, a learned businessman, a wise industrialist. The golden words are very important. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with a team. Believe me, friends, it's a teamwork. And unless and until there is a teamwork, listing cannot be successful. There are 7 key stakeholders. These 7 stakeholders are very important. It starts with the company. The company is going to need the money, and it ends with the investors. Investors are the people. They're the God who are going to give you the money. And before, when the company is going to the investors, there are different stakeholders which are involved. And as a professional, we are having a very key role to play across all stages. Michael Jordan, a famous sportsman and businessman from from America, he had told, "Talent wins the games, but hard work and intelligence, or teamwork and intelligence, can help you to win the championship." So it's all about the teamwork. When we speak about the company, it starts with the promoters, shareholders, board of directors, and there are key managerial personnel like CEO, CFO, company secretary. So they are the people who need to be fully aware about the stock exchange listing mechanism. If they're fully aware about the stock exchange listing mechanism, the pros and cons, the kind of stock exchanges which they can explore, and the kind of strategies to get listed, then only they'll be able to take a right decision. Once they take some decision, then there is a role for SEBI registered intermediaries. There will be merchant bankers, underwriters, registrars, market makers, brokers. What is market maker? Jayesh is going to take us through that. So this SEBI registered intermediaries will come in the picture. There are a lot of other agencies which are involved, like advertisers will be there, PR will be there, IR. What is IR? Investor relations. Media planners will be there. So all those agencies need to be identified. As a chartered accountant, we are having very important role to identify right intermediaries as well as agencies and properly help them in providing relevant information in a timely manner. When it comes to professionals, as an auditor, we are having important role to play. But besides that, there are other people which are involved. Like in some other cases, we need to have accounts audited from peer review auditors. Not every auditor is a peer review auditor. So practically, we'll have to coordinate with other chartered accountancy firms, cost accountants, company secretaries, lawyers, valuers, investment bankers. A lot of professionals will be involved in the process because it's again a teamwork. And when it comes to regulatory authorities, SEBI is the apex regulator for capital markets. There are different authorities like RBI, Competition Commission, ROC, sectoral regulators like IRD or TRAI. There are many sectoral regulators also involved in the process. In important factor comes in the form of market infrastructure institution, which is called as MIIs. And other institutions, MIIs are basically stock exchanges and depositories. There are only 2 depositories. There are NSDL and CDSL. NSDL is promoted by National Stock Exchange and CDSL is promoted by BSE. So there are only 2 depositories. But stock exchanges and depositories, they are called as market infrastructure institutions. And there are other institutions like banks will be there, financial institutions will be there, rating agencies will be there. A lot of coordination, a lot of information will be asked by those agencies, and we'll have to provide them, we'll have to satisfy their queries if we want to get the approval from them. And then comes the core, that is called as investors in the world of capital markets. Investors can be in any form. It can be retail investors, HNIs, financial institutions, FIs, a lot of categories are there. But all said and done, all investors are important. So practically speaking, as a stakeholder, as a chartered accountant, as a professional who is going to pilot this process, we have to take the company, we have to coordinate with all the intermediaries, we have to satisfy the requirements of all the stakeholders so that investors can come and they can actually add value to us. So that is something which is the key task which all of us as a chartered accountant can do in the process. How it happens? All of us are aware about the IPO. IPO is what? Initial public offering. There is another process which is called as OFS. OFS is offer for sale. At this point of time, SEBI is having similar process for IPO as well as OFS. And there are two kind of stock exchange which we are seeing. That is main board, that is NSE and BSE, and there is SME stock exchange, NSE Emerge and BSE SME. So we are seeing that. So whether you want to come out with an IPO or OFS on main board or SME exchange, the process is more or less same. Jayesh is going to take us through that process in detail. I'm just having an overview of that. This process, you can have only three portions, that is preparation, execution, and timing. It's divided into three stages. Get formula, remember that, and you can come out with a successful IPO or successful offer for sale, whether it can be on main board or it can be on SME exchange. How does it start? It starts with getting the board approval. Very simple. The board has to approve it, then take the approval from the members, appoint the intermediaries, merchant bankers, and then primary due diligence will be taken. And once they're satisfied, yes, this is something which can be done, you are prepared. Then comes the execution. You need to have demat connectivity with depositories. We spoke there are only two depositories, NSDL, CDSL. We need to have demat connectivity with both. ROC compliances like increasing the capital and few other compliances will be pending. You'll have to complete. File offer document with SEBI, ROC, and stock exchange and get an in principle approval from them. You're having in principle approval from the stock exchange or SEBI. You are through with the second stage. Now you have to time. Timing is something which is most important. And if you can time the market, fantastic. Time the market, I'm not saying from identifying the stock and selling the stock. I'm saying time the market when the capital markets are all-time high, when there is a huge demand for IPOs. Why don't you come out with an IPO for your own company and get the company listed over there? So how will you do that? Determine the issue price, open the issue, allot the shares to the eligible investors, get the shares listed on the stock exchange. If you are getting listed on SME exchanges, there is a market making. What is market making? Jayesh is going to explain that. And if you are getting listed on the main board, market making is not required. The process is very standard. There are only three stages which are important: preparation, execution, and timing. So if you're going to follow this formula, fantastic. Nobody can stop you from coming out with a successful IPO. But friends, IPO is something which is a dream, and it is something which is going to create a lot of value for all of us. There are another half a dozen strategies which you can use as per your convenience and choice if you want to get listed. Like for example, direct listing. What is direct listing? Just now we spoke, there were more than 24 stock exchanges which were spread across India. And there were thousands of companies. All those companies, particularly when the stock exchanges were defunct, those stock exchanges were shut down by SEBI and those companies were transferred to dissemination board. There are two dissemination board again, BSE dissemination board and NSE dissemination board, which is again having more than 2000 companies on there. So all those companies, if they want to get listed on main board, they can be listed on main board at a very, very concessional norm. And practically speaking, they need not come out with IPO. It can be directly listed over there if they're going to meet the eligibility criteria. Somebody will say, what is the benefit? Like for example, Rupa and Company. Rupa is the famous hosiery brand manufacturer. They're listed on BSE and NSE board. They had never come out with an IPO on either BSE or NSE. That is a case of direct listing. There are many such companies which got listed. In fact, hundreds of companies have got listed in the last decade on BSE as well as NSE through direct listing mechanism. Because the only criteria, the only agenda of SEBI was to protect the interests of the investors, public investors, which are invested in those companies, and that's why direct listing norms are always very concessional. So even today, there will be a lot of companies from different parts of India, including Rajasthan, which might be there on either on BSE dissemination board or NSE dissemination board. Those companies might be eligible to get listed on main board of BSE or NSE or MSCI, subject to meeting their criteria. Second option, demerger. Demerger is a fantastic option which has really created a lot of value. I was fortunate to work with L&T, which had done a demerger, classic demerger. L&T, and there were at the end of the exercise there were two companies, two giant companies, L&T and Ultratech Cement. Both the companies leaders in their industries even today. And such demerger has been done by many groups, including Reliance Group, Bajaj Group. A lot of groups have done demerger regularly. And practically speaking, one company getting split into 2 or 3 companies and creating value on multiple basis. Third option, reverse merger. What is reverse merger? Reverse merger is something in which one company, which is a small company, is getting merged with another company, and that small company continues to operate. It is not a new concept. It is in existence for more than 3 decades. Godrej had done reverse merger in 90s. Jindal Group, Videocon had done around 2 decades ago. Jindal had done in the last decade. So practically, Jindal, all these groups had done reverse merger for getting some benefits out of intangible assets. It can be in the form of getting benefit of tax losses, or it can be in the form of getting benefit of listing status. This is a very popular mechanism, and many of the companies have taken the benefit of it. At this point of time, SEBI is slightly strict on merger, which is happening with companies belonging to two different groups, particularly when listed and unlisted companies are there. So, but if there is an unlisted company and listed company from the same group, the permission can be granted. Like for example, uh, there are many such companies which are doing this reverse merger activities even today, but subject to doing offer under takeover. Then the next option comes, which is take under insolvency code. It is very interesting. All of us are aware about Baba Ramdev. Baba Ramdev has taught yoga across the globe, and fantastic individual, fantastic yoga guru, a great personality indeed. But friends, when we are taking lessons from yoga from Baba Ramdev, perhaps there is a need for us to take lessons for corporate restructuring, value creation opportunities, what Baba Ramdev is doing in his group company, that is Patanjali. They acquired a company called Ruchi Soya somewhere in 2019. And that transaction was for 4,500 crore rupees. If you see the valuation of Ruchi Soya after takeover, it became 45,000 crore rupees somewhere in June 2020 in a short span of 6 months. And even today, the valuation is consistent. Baba Ramdev is the Patanjali group is transferring some business. Recently, they have transferred some wellness business, some biscuit business to Ruchi Soya, and now they're planning to value 25% stake by raising funding for their group expansion. So practically, the company which was a bankrupt company like Ruchi Soya, when Baba Ramdev had come in the picture, he could create all the value even for a bankrupt company. And that's what is something which is the power of IBC, and that's what is the power which capital market is offering to even junk companies. There are a lot of examples like this. The beauty of acquiring companies through IBC, there is an exemption which is given for mandatory takeover. If anybody has to acquire a company, he has to make open offer. But if you're acquiring a company under IBC, then practically there is no such need to do open offer. And if tomorrow Patanjali gets merged with Ruchi Soya, then practically it will be a classic case of reverse merger. At this point of time, there is no merger. Only some business has been transferred. But if some point of time, if both the companies are getting merged, then it can be also called as a reverse merger. Then comes the open offer under SEBI takeover code. Very interesting strategy. I'm sure in this COVID era, many of us might have taken vaccination. Mr. Adar Poonawalla, who is known worldwide for the vaccination drive, Poonawalla Group, Serum Institute. I'm sure many of you might be aware that he also has acquired a listed company called Magma Fincorp. That company was acquired in the last quarter, and that company is a Kolkata-based company which is in financial services. That was acquired by Mr. Poonawalla, and it has been creating huge value. Since that company was sound and it was not having any kind of a litigation which was going on, that's why that was not under NCLT, and that company was acquired through SEBI takeover code while complying with that and after making an open offer. So if you see SEBI's portal, you'll regularly find a lot of open offers are being done every year for listed companies. And after doing the open offer, particularly for the people who are not in a position to wait for meeting the IPO criteria, or if they're in a hurry to get listed, sometimes they acquire a listed company instead of creating the entire structure on their own. So this is something which is also again an interesting option. And the last option, which we spoke, innovation. Just now we spoke about it around 10 minutes ago. How SEBI is supporting innovation. We are in the process of launching Innovators Growth Platform. I'm sure many of us might be aware about NASDAQ. NASDAQ is an interesting platform which is known for technology companies. And believe me, friends, that is the second largest stock exchange in the world. Why it is so? Because a lot of importance is given to technology, and SEBI is also trying to replicate the similar model. That's what is the thought process by offering Innovators Growth Platform, because that will be giving access only for the recognized startup, particularly from the technology industry. So there are 6 technology industries which are identified, and they will be given access to that. And this IGP is going to play a very critical role. So we are going to have a comparison how it is going to happen. There are 3 patterns: IGP, SME Exchange, and Main Board. When it comes to listing through IPO, IGP and Main Board, it is for IGP it is optional. You need not have an IPO for that. But for SME exchange and main board, it is mandatory to come out with an IPO. So on IGP, you can get yourself listed even without IPO. When it comes to intermediaries, if there is no IPO, there is no need to have intermediaries, but it is compulsory for SME exchange and main board. There are observations for SME exchange. The process is very simple because clearance is given by the stock exchange. But in case of IGP and main board, it is SEBI. The paid up capital is 10 crore for IGP and main board, but for SME exchange, even 1 crore company can get listed. But practically speaking, if you want to migrate to the main board, you need to have 10 crore rupees of capital. Jayesh is going to take us through that in detail. Minimum number of shareholders are 50 for SME exchange and IGP, but for main board, it is 1,000. Application size, again, there are restrictions of 2 lakh for IGP, 1 lakh for SME exchange. For main board, there is no such restriction. There's a minimum limit for trading lot and application size. Market making, something which is not required for IGP and main board, but for SME exchange, it is mandatory. I'm not discussing about my market making at this point of time because that will be covered in the second session. And reporting frequency, again, a lot of liberalized approach is taken for SME exchange because it is just 2 years and it is quarterly for IGP and main board. As far as cooling period is concerned, it is 1 year for IGP, 2 years for SME exchange. For main board, it is not applicable. What is cooling period? When you want to migrate from IGP or SME exchange to the main board. If you're on IGP, after 1 year, you can go to main board. From SME, you can go after 2 years. And minimum locking periods is 6 months, 3 years, and 3 years. 3 years for SME exchange and main board, 3 years both. There is a vision to reduce it to 18 months, and SEBI has recently announced it. Regulations are likely very soon in that regard. But friends, if you see this overall chart, it seems that IGP is very attractive. No doubt it is attractive, but practically speaking, it is still in the process. It is at a conceptual stage. It is not yet launched. When it comes to main board, there is a compulsory requirement of having 15 crore rupees of profitability for average profit of 3 years. That is something which is going to create a challenge. So that is again something which is a challenge, main challenge. And even if IGP is launched, practically it will be restricted only for selective technology companies. So what will happen to other companies which are engaged into steel business, cement business, trading business, other businesses which are non-technology business? Practically speaking, SME exchange is something which is going to give them the maximum avenue at a highly concessional norm. What are the norms? We'll have a look at in the second session. So friends, we have seen a lot of tall buildings in this entire presentation. A lot of tall structures where there, each of those tall structures, beautiful buildings, they replicate the value. A lot of values associated with each of the building, and we need to take maximum care. Believe me, friends, even if the building is tall, if it is strong, if it is not protected from rodents, rats, and mice, it may get damaged. Perhaps they may even collapse. And that's what is something which is very important. We need to take precaution because once the structure collapses, the entire value can be lost. So practically speaking, the foremost point which all of us need to remember, the company has to be listed only if there is a suitable growth plan. A lot of people will come to you and they'll say, Bhaiya, mere ko company list karna hai, and then I'll decide what is to be done. We should never entertain such people. Practically Reliance, Anil Dhirubhai Ambani Group, all of us might be aware. In 2008, they came out with an IPO of Reliance Power. But they did not meet the expectations of the promoter. Not only that company collapsed, but entire ADHA group collapsed. All other group companies, they also suffered very, very badly. Second important thing, choose the stock exchange wisely. And even your strategy of listing can be very crucial. When it comes to stock exchanges, like we have seen, there is Kolkata Stock Exchange, which is having 2,000 companies. There is NSE, which is having 2,000 companies. NSE is having more than 90% market share. Kolkata Stock Exchange is not yet operational. So when it comes to listing, choose your stock exchange wisely. It is possible for you to get listed through IPO. You can go for open offer. You can go for reverse merger. You can adopt any strategy as per your choice, depending on your business philosophy. But the most important factor is if you want to get the benefit of listing, you have to be a listed company. Under no circumstances you can avail benefit of listing, the value creation exercise, if you continue to remain unlisted. Third important thing, we are having a classic regulator like SEBI, which is known as a world-class regulator. And since they're world-class, they're very strict as well. There are very high penalties which are prescribed for violations, and that's why timely compliance is important. You might have seen in the news the last quarter it had come. They have levied some 25 crore rupees of penalty on Reliance. That's one of the news items. If SEBI can levy penalties on Reliance, practically every company can face penalties if there is any non-compliance. How can we safeguard ourselves? There is only one option: do all your compliances in a timely manner. And importantly, have a team with proven track record. I'm sure the promoters are fantastic people. They know how to manage sales, purchases, finance, bank finance, compliance, regulations. But stock market is something which is a specialized game. There are 6.5 crore business enterprises, but there are only 5,000 listed companies, 6,000 listed companies. And the people who are active into listed companies, there are handful people who understand the process. So try to work with the people who are having proven track record. I'm sure the promoter can, if they are going to trial and error approach can help you to get listed. But if there is a delay, then that can cost you very dearly. And besides, there will be a wastage of resources. Try to work with a team with proven track record. And believe me, friends, the most important point, follow the trends and time it well. At this point of time, if you see last year, a lot of rush was there, a lot of funding was made available for tech companies. At this point of time, there is hardly any tech companies out there in pipeline. But all of a sudden, a lot of pharma companies are trying to tap the capital market. Krishna had come, Glenmark had come, a lot of companies are in pipeline. Zomato has got listed, Paytm is on the way to get listed, a lot of startups are coming. So if you're having any startup which is eligible to get listed, or if you're having any pharma company which is eligible to get listed, can you do a favor for them to get it listed at this point of time? Because you are going to get the maximum possible value when capital markets are at all-time high. So follow the trends and time it well. That is something which is very, very important. So that's in why to get listed, where to get listed, how to get listed, what is the opportunity which is available for the chartered accountants. Friends, a lot of our opportunities are available for the chartered accountants, both internally as well as externally. And believe me, those opportunities are really endless. If we seriously speak about it, अगर हम स्वयं से ना हारे तो निश्चित है. And when people are saying, a lot of people are saying, अभी ये कम हो रहा है, वैसा हो रहा है. Of course, कुछ ना कुछ कम हो रहा है, but there are endless opportunities which are coming to our way. As an internal person, like we had seen Zomato's CFO, now the founder as well, the kind of value creation what she had done, and her stake is valued at 150 crore rupees. She's having background of PwC, fantastic professional. But practically speaking, if she can do it, many other chartered accountants can also tap similar opportunities while working with startups or MSMEs and create value for themselves, for everybody. So as an internal avenue, we are known for our expertise in accounts, costing, taxation, audit. We are also having fantastic knowledge of corporate finance. We are excellent in strategic planning. We also control MIS and budgeting. These things we are always going to dominate. We are always going to control because we are having super specialization in that. But when it comes to external avenues, what we need to focus is that internal avenues, they're always going to grow bigger when the company gets listed, when the companies attract funds from outside. But there are a lot of opportunities which are available in the form of merchant banking, fund managers, a lot of PVC funds, mutual funds are there, portfolio managers are there. There are broking firms, NBFCs, equity research, investor relations. Why investor relation is so important? Friends, many of the people, they feel investor relation means any investor is asking you to send an annual report or they're asking you to provide some information and you're just doing that. Not really. The company is doing some excellent activity, and if you're going to effectively position it to the investor, you can create huge value for the company, for everybody, including the investors. And that's what is the importance of investor relations. In a country like India, there are not more than a dozen efficient and strong investor relations funds, which are active investor relation funds, which are active at this point of time. So those kind of external avenues are also there. So if you're going to balance, if you're going to mix and match between internal avenues and external avenues, and if you're going to work on teamwork, there can be a fantastic opportunity, which no doubt can stop us from tapping at. So friends, this was all about from my side. This is something which is a final slide. I'm thankful to all the patient hearing. But before I conclude, I'd like to say some important words, according to me, which is very important for you. I'm sure when you start exploring the capital market, this is a magical world of capital market, which is going to create maximum value. But many of the time, people will come to you and you need to identify which are the ethical promoters, which are the sustainable projects, which are the projects which can really add value for the economy, for the industry as well. And at that point of time, if you can take a right decision, it can certainly help you out in the process. India is known for Arya Chanakya. Arya Chanakya, his golden words are very, very important. Mantra rakshane karya siddhi bhavati. Daivam minati prayatnam karoti yat tadiva phalam. Swashaktim jnatva karyamadhe. Karya bahutve bahuphalamaya tikat puyati. What does it mean? One should work only after adequate planning. One should work only when with maximum secrecy. Don't disclose your plan to anybody. Try for the improvement. Devam vinati prayatnam karoti yat tadiva phalam. A well-planned work produces good results. Of Because if you are going to good seed sown, always yield best fruits. Similarly, Swashakti Nyatva, Karya Market, one should weigh his capacity before the work. If you feel you are eligible to do it, you must do it. But for some reason, if you feel that you may not be in a position to do something, try to hire an expert, try to work as a team and do with them. And last most important thing, the crux of the entire presentation, Karya Bahutve Bahufalamaya Kat Kuyati. What does it mean? When there are many options, select the options, select the work which is going to create the most sustainable value. So let's frame. We are 3 lakh chartered accountants. There are hardly 6,000 listed companies. Even if each one of us is going to get one company listed in the stock exchange in our lifetime, there's a huge potential which is available for us. And believe me, friends, when our leaders, our visionary leaders are trying to target valuation of $5 trillion for Indian economy, a small step from our side, very important step of value creation can certainly make a huge value addition. I'm sure all of us are certainly game for it. And my best wishes to you in your journey towards excellence. Before I conclude, this is mandatory disclaimer. We have taken all the care while making this presentation, but before taking any action, we sincerely request you to check the accuracy, completeness, and sufficiency of the material for your purpose. Thanks a lot. Over to Jaipur chapter. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Amarji. Thank you. I think this is a unique session covered by Amarji. First time in the history of Jaipur branch, organized by the Jaipur branch, hosted by the Jaipur branch. Really, it is a wonderful session presented with the example of Zomato, Baba Ramdev, Patanjali, Ruchi Soya, etc. in a good manner and in an understanding manner. Amarji have the wide knowledge on the subject. That's why he covered the presentation in a beautiful manner. Thank you very much, Amarji, for giving your presentation. Thank you. Now, friends, we are heading for the second session, which will be covered by our co-speaker, CS Jayesh by Taori ji, who will enlighten on the topic SME IPO alternative source of finance. Friends, Jayesh Bhai is the Associate Vice President of National Stock Exchange, NSE. He is the fellow member of ICS India and ICA UK United Kingdom with over 11 years of experience. He has joined the NSE in 2007 as a part of membership team handling member registration, compliances, etc. In the year 2011, he got the opportunity to be a part of the project team for the launch of a NSE SME platform, Emerge, which was successfully launched in the year 2012. Also, he is actively contributed in launch of the one more platform for the startup and young companies to list without IPO, Emerge ITP, in the year 2013. He has conducted numerous lectures across India on the various topics related to the capital market, including SME listing. With this, I request Jayesh Bhai to present the presentation and take the session. Jayesh Bhai, please.
Yeah, thank you, Rakesh ji, for the introduction. And I will also like to thank you and Abhishek ji, who have taken the efforts of organizing this event with ICI Jaipur chapter office. So yes, it gives me immense pleasure. Continuously we are doing the awareness at Jaipur branch all around the Rajasthan area. And even as in starting, it was rightly said by Abhishek ji, ki there are around 20-25 companies which have been listed on the SME platform. In fact, the second company which got listed on our Emerge platform was Veto Switchgear, and they are based in the based out of Jaipur only. So yeah, we have got very positive response from the Rajasthan region, I will say, for the SME companies who have come forward and got listed on the platform. So yeah, I'm very sure ki, like we have done various awareness session on the Emerge platform in Jaipur and in and around Rajasthan area. So surely, I'm sure ki you must have heard about this platform, but might not have accessed it till date with the clientele which you are representing. But sure, what we can do, like Amarji have told in his slide also, ki if we can keep this interactive session, that will be more better. Because I'm very, very sure ki, you have heard about this platform, you have read about it. So like we have done n number of events at Jaipur. So I'm very sure somewhere or the other you must have heard about it. So if you have any doubt or you want any clarification about some rules, regulation, ki how your client can come forward and get listed on the platform, I'm ready to help on that. So just to give you the background about the platform, in 2008 finance speech, finance minister has proposed ki why not we should look at the option where the small and medium enterprises can raise equity capital through a stock market. So in 2010, we have received some guidelines from the regulator SEBI. On that basis, we have developed the system which is required. We have prepared on the rules and regulation, which kind of SMEs we can take for a listing. And finally, in September 2012, we have launched the platform. So first company to get listed on the platform was Tejo Engineering. It's a Chennai-based company. And the second one in the same year, I guess in the month of December, they got listed, was Veto Switchgear. And they have raised around 25 crore of funds at that point of time in 2012. And just to give you the brief about this platform, the platform has been regulated by SEBI. But here the basic difference is the responsibility and the power has been given to the stock exchanges. So stock as a NSE, we have kept it the part of the capital market segment only. But under that, we have created a sub-segment, series in which the stock of SMEs get traded. So usually for the first 10 days of listing, the stock gets traded in the ST series, and then it moves from ST to SM series. The trading terminal, so whatever the investor community is there, whatever the broker community is there, so there is no separate registration required, even at the broker end and even at the investor end. Only you need to call the broker and trade, or online, if the broker is having the online terminal, you can just do it through the app which they are providing. So even when the company is planning to bring up the IPO, they require a category 1 register merchant banker. So these are the specialized agency which have been registered with the regulator, has a category 1 register merchant banker, and they can bring IPO on various platforms which are available in the stock market. So currently 222 companies have been listed, and approximately 3,350 crores have been raised from the SME capital market. So we have seen typically the average issue size distributed amongst the companies approx 15 to 16 CR. Plus we have seen from each and every sector, we have seen the company have got listed. But yeah, we do additional due diligence on the NBFC companies which are coming in, or the registered stockbroker wants to bring the IPO. So we have our own internal criteria, and then only we allow them to come on the platform. So out of this 222 companies which have been listed on the SME platform, 75 companies have migrated from the SME platform to the main board platform. So we have seen that when the company is migrating from this SME platform to the main board, so there has been increase in the valuation, because now the investor who were not able to invest in the SME company due to the lot size concept, so they have entered into the market when the company has come on the main board platform. So typically this is where we keep our NSE merge platform. So आपने देखा होगा जब भी एक प्रमोटर अपना बिजनेस चालू करता है, तो आइदर वो अपने ग्रैंडफादर या फादर से इनहेरिट होके आया है, एंड दे आर रनिंग द शो like third generation or fourth generation maybe, or you are the first generation entrepreneur, you are trying to set up the business with whatever you have funds, you can borrow it from friends and relative, infuse the money in the company, grow the company. And usually we have seen when the promoter starts a business, they even start in the proprietorship or a partnership firms also. But एक वक्त के बाद क्या होगा? You have infused the fund whatever you were having. So the next step is to borrow the funds. Either you can borrow from the bank or the long debt borrower, or even if the company is growing and on the technology side, maybe you might have seen the angel funding coming in picture. But yeah, the angel funding or the venture capital funding is not easy to take in, as they have their own limitation in which kind of companies they will invest the fund. But yeah, till the time you are providing the collaterals to the bank is ready to fund you. आप अपना collateral देते रहिए और बैंक आपको funding देते रहेगा. But again, funding तो हमेशा आपको लगेगा. एक वक्त के बाद आपके पास collateral नहीं होगा, but आपको grow करने के लिए और पैसा चाहिए. तो 2012 के पहले एक अपॉर्चुनिटी थी. अगर कंपनी का operational profit for 3 years is 15 crore, then they can plan for the main board IPO. They can come and list on the main board platform. So एक उनके पास अपॉर्चुनिटी थी. लेकिन जब हमने देखा कि जो SME है, who are the backbone of our country, so उनको ये ऑप्शन अवेलेबल नहीं था. So what we have done, we have prepared a regulation कि जो कंपनी मेन बोर्ड पे एलिजिबल नहीं है या वो मेन बोर्ड पे नहीं जा सकती, बट उनका फंडिंग रिक्वायरमेंट है, दे कैन with the infusion of even small amount, like on NSC हमने देखा है कि approx 4 crore is the IPO size on the minimum side, and maximum size 85 crore का IPO आ चुका है. So even the small amount company with a small infusion of amount in the company has double, triple their turnover. So this is how we place our emerge platform, where the company is not able to take the debt funding or have exhausted with the debt option and wants to come on the IPO side, wants to come and raise equity capital and get listed on the platform. So यहाँ पे we have placed our emerge platform the step before going on the main board platform. As soon as company comes with the IPO on the SME emerge platform, if they are eligible, they can migrate on the main board also. So अब जब भी हम SME वर्ड यूज हम सुनते हैं तो हमको ऐसा लगता है कि SME is one company which has to be registered under the MSME Act. But SEBI, our regulator, has kept it very simple. What they say कि post issue paid up capital of the company should be less than 25 crore. अगर आपका post issue paid up capital 25 करोड़ के नीचे है, then you are eligible to bring IPO on this platform. So SEBI ने इसको थोड़ा और bifurcate किया है, which tells कि if the post issue paid up capital is going beyond 25 crore, then mandatory you need to come with the IPO on the main board platform. आप SME पे IPO नहीं ला सकते. But the moment you are under 10 to 25 crore bracket, you have the option either to bring the IPO on the SME platform or the main board platform. If you are eligible to bring on the main board platform, you can come on the main board also. But अगर आपका post issue paid up capital 10 करोड़ के नीचे है, तो compulsorily आपको IPO SME platform पे ही लाना होगा. You don't have choice to go on the main board platform. So according to this definition, n number of companies will get eligible, whether the company is under proprietorship or a partnership firm or a private limited company, but they can be eligible. So we wanted when the company is coming or approaching the exchange, so we wanted that there should be some track record of the company, and there should be some revenue model, there should be the growth story, so that at least they can try to attract the investor in their company and list on the platform. So over and above the SEBI prescribed criteria, we have put additional criteria. The main of that are there should be at least 3-year operational history of the company. सो काफी टाइम हमने ये देखा है कि कंपनी चालू होने के पहले वो प्रोप्राइटरशिप में है या पार्टनरशिप फर्म में है. So yes, we do consider the track record of the proprietorship also and the partnership firm also, which has been converted into a company. तो वो ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड हम लोग कंसिडर करेंगे. प्लस आपका जो एबिटा लेवल पे प्रॉफिट है वो 2 साल के लिए पॉजिटिव होना चाहिए आउट ऑफ 3 फाइनेंशियल ईयर. Plus you should have a positive net worth also. So if you are if the company is fulfilling this criteria, you are eligible to come on the platform. So these are the regulatory framework which are applicable on the SME platform. So I will just brief you on what are the provision and what are the provision which are applicable on the main board also. So we will just have a comparison of both the platforms, so you have more clarity ki how this market function and what are the regulation which are not applicable, or what are the relaxation given to the SME companies from bringing the IPO on the platform. So जब main board पे IPO आता है, so you required 1000 number of allottees at the time of the IPO. But जब SME पे IPO आता है तो आपको 50 number of allottees चाहिए. So यहाँ पे सेबी का सोचना ये था कि एक SME कंपनी, usually the visibility of a small and medium entrepreneur or a company is in and around the geographical location in which it belongs. So like for example, Vito Switchgear का अधिकतर ब्रांड इमेज या आपने नाम सुना होगा क्योंकि वो जयपुर बेस्ड है, या इन एंड अराउंड राजस्थान जहाँ उनका बिजनेस हो रहा है, या ऑन पैन इंडिया बेसिस अगर उनका प्रोडक्ट पैन इंडिया में जा रहा है तो. सो विथ हुम दे आर डीलिंग, their dealer channel or the vendor or the clients who are dealing with the company, they know about that company. So initially level पे हमने ये देखा है कि these are the first person who deals with the company on day in day out. They are the first investor in the company at the time of the IPO. So इसमें Veto Switchgear का एक बहुत अच्छा example है, where at the time of the IPO, they have just said us कि we will be doing the dealer meet with all our dealers. So we have just given them the option कि आप अपने dealer meet में announce करिए कि the company is coming up with the IPO and what IPO is and how the company will get benefit out of that, whatever fund has been raised through it. So उन्होंने बोला नहीं, हमारे डीलर बहुत छोटे हैं, वो नहीं कर पाएंगे, हो सकता है उनका डीमैट अकाउंट नहीं हो. हमने बोला सर जो भी है, बट बोलने में क्या प्रॉब्लम है कि हमारा कंपनी का आईपीओ आ रहा है, अगर आप इंटरेस्टेड है तो यू कैन बिड फॉर इट. सो जब उन्होंने अनाउंस किया, सो यू विल नॉट बिलीव द वन टाइम बिड बुक was supply what fulfilled by their dealers only. तो एक टाइम सब्सक्रिप्शन तो उनके डीलर ने ही कर दिया of 25 crore IPO, and whatever rest has come from the market is different. But yeah, so this is how, if the company has some track record in the market and everything, so they can easily garner the funds. Plus dilution requirements. So dilution requirements remains the same. Either it's the main board platform or the emerge platform. 25% of the stake should be diluted. So 25% will go in the public, 75% will may remain with the promoter or the promoter group. So with respect to offer document, so whatever the offer document is been prepared, it has been prepared with the help of a category 1 registered merchant banker. So once the offer document is prepared, it is filed with the exchange and also filed with the SEBI also. So on the main board platform, the company needs to take the approval from both the exchange and the regulator SEBI both. But on the SME platform, as the power has been given to the exchanges, so here the exchange will only issue the observation, if any, on the offer document. And once they have been satisfied, the exchange will issue the in principle approval to the company. So usually once you file the offer document, within 2 to 3 weeks, we clear the offer document if all the queries and everything has been resolved. And after that, post that, you can bring up the IPO anytime. As said, there is no grading requirement, whether it's the SME platform or the main board platform. Additionally, 2 new concept has been added at the time of the IPO and the post IPO. That is 100% underwriting and the market making for 3 years. So here, like when the company is opening the IPO, on the main board platform, if the IPO is subscribed to the tune of 50% or 70%, then the company has the option to withdraw the offer because of the undersubscription. But on the SME platform, it is 100% underwritten. So in the offer document, it is mentioned that if the IPO is not subscribed, then who is the underwriter to the issue, who will fulfill the issue, who will bring in the balance amount which is required to fulfill the IPO. तो यहाँ पे अगर आपका IPO ओपन होता है, so it's the merchant banker and the underwriter responsibility कि आपका IPO पूरा fulfill हो जाए. Plus market making for 3 years. So जब कंपनी मार्केट में लिस्ट हो जाती है, so you have the official market maker with you. So usually the registered stockbroker of the exchanges are the market maker to the company, and the market maker role is to present with the buy and sell quote for the 75% of the market timing, so that any investor wants to sell the stock, there is somebody who can buy, and if anybody wants to buy, there is somebody who can buy from the market. So I will just merge this point with the investor why market making facility has been given to the companies, because यहाँ पे जो minimum application size है at the time of the IPO and at the time of the secondary market trading, it's 1 lakh rupees. So SEBI always wanted the informed investor who understand the business model of the SME and the risk which they carry in the business, who understand them should only invest in the company. So यहाँ पे उन्होंने वो टिकट साइज ज्यादा रखा है ताकि मोर एंड मोर रिटेल पार्टिसिपेशन ना हो और प्रमोटर का ध्यान पूरा बिजनेस में रहे, नॉट टू हैंडल द स्टॉक मार्केट. क्योंकि यहाँ पे 1 लाख का ट्रेडिंग लॉट है. सो जस्ट टू गिव यू द एग्जांपल, लाइक वेटो स्विच केयर का आईपीओ प्राइस वाज अराउंड 50 रुपीज. सो उनका जो लॉट साइज था अकॉर्डिंग टू द inventory management decided by the regulator, so if the price band is of 50 rupees, the market lot needs to be of 3000. So unka jo market lot tha in the secondary market, if anybody wants to invest in the company, at least 1,50,000 amount unko invest karna hai. They need to buy the whole 3000 lot size. They can't break it and buy it. So that's why जो हमने starting में बोला कि it's the part of the capital market, but we have created a separate sub segment. That is why we have introduced the new series called SM series. So the public knows this is the SME stock, and if you want, you can invest in it, and the minimum investment will be around 1 lakh and plus. But in the secondary market, it might happen there might be rise in the price or drop in the price from the issue price. So agar 50 rupees ka 100 rupees hota hai, so exchange has been given power to review the lot size. So agar suppose this 50 rupees stock become 100 rupees, so we have the power to decide whether it can be breaked into the lot size of 1000 or 1500. But we will not create the odd lot size jahan pe aapka trading bhi na ho. प्लस ये भी एक ऑप्शन है कि अगर ये 50 रुपीज का प्राइस 10 रुपीज हो जाता है तो क्या होगा. तो ये स्टॉक जो आपका अलॉटमेंट है दैट विल रिमेन द सेम. सो इन दिस एग्जांपल आपके पास 3000 का ही लॉट साइज रहेगा. वी कांट इंक्रीज द लॉट साइज, सो वी ओनली हैव द ऑप्शन टू डिक्रीज इट बट नॉट टू इंक्रीज इट. So to provide this liquidity in the market, officially regulator have told that there should be a market maker who has invested in the who is with the company to provide the liquidity in the stock for at least 3 years from the date of the IPO. Post listing compliance, like on the main board platform, you must have seen the quarterly audited accounts have been declared and they are printed in the newspaper. But on SME platform, the relaxation has been given due to that's not that number of shareholders which are active on the platform. But but to continue it, instead of the quarterly result, the SME company needs to declare the half yearly results of the company. Further, no need to get it printed in the newspaper. only this company can disseminate on the exchange website. So we have the portal where the company can declare it, and the same will be disseminated on the website. Plus, company needs to disseminate the information on their website also. They have just this two requirement after declaring the accounts. Rest of the corporate governance with respect to shareholding pattern, secretarial audit report, rules with respect to the takeover regulations and everything remains the same. But as per LODR, some regulation from 17 to 29, many regulations are not applicable to the SME companies. So which they need to fulfill when the company is planning to move to the main board platform. Here, one more feature has been added where if the company is having the paid up capital of 10 crore and market cap of 25 crore, and they are listed on SME platform for at least 2 years, then they can migrate from this SME platform to the main board platform. So this migration means only the series get changes for the company. So when the company was trading on the SME platform, they were having the SM series, but now the company will move to EQ series or the main board series. So only changes now instead of lot size. So in the example which I have given, the 3000 lot size will be break into one share. So now to the investor, it has been the opportunity. Either they can invest in the company one stock or in multiple of one stock. So whatever number they want to buy, they can buy it from the market or sell it in the market. So this is how at NSE we handle the companies when they are planning to move in the IPO. So like we do various interactive session with like professional bodies of chartered accountant or company secretary. Even we do various awareness session with the industrial bodies, industrial cluster associations and everybody, and try to spread more and more awareness about the platform. So even the entrepreneur knows he has one more opportunity. Instead of getting the traditional funding through the bank route, they may eye to come through the IPO market also. So we try to connect the company with the intermediaries like category 1 register merchant banking, who will help them in preparation of the offer document. Once the offer document has been prepared, the same will get filed at NSE. So at NSE, the processing of the offer document goes to our listing compliance team. So as a business development, we are already in touch with the promoter or with the intermediaries who are involved in the IPO. So we know what the company is in, but listing compliance will do their own due diligence on the offer document. If they have any query, they will issue the observation letter. And once the same has been satisfied, you will get the in principle approval. So the in principle is valid for 12 months from the date of issuances. Within that period, company can bring in IPO anytime. So whenever the company is planning to bring the IPO, it will remain open for minimum 3 working days and maximum for 10 working days. And post that, whenever the IPO get closed, the company will get listed on the platform within 6 working days. So this is just a slide where we highlight, we tell them about why should one SME company should plan for the IPO. What is the benefit for the company? So I guess as a professional bodies, it's very important for us to understand and make the entrepreneur also understand what will happen when the company is planning to come on the platform. So basically, बैंक फंडिंग कि सबसे पहला ऑप्शन तो कंपनी को लगता है कि हाँ बैंक से लोन उठा लो, एवरीथिंग इज गुड, लोन इजीली मिल भी जाता है. बट व्हाट इफ यू आर गेटिंग द फंड्स फ्रॉम द मार्केट एंड विच इज इंटरेस्ट फ्री? यहाँ पे बैंक फंडिंग में वन चैलेंज विल बी ऑलवेज देयर कि आपको इंटरेस्ट पे करना है. आपका बिजनेस चले ना चले, बट इंटरेस्ट तो आपको पे करना है. But if you are garnering funds from the capital market, though it's the interest-free fund which have been raised from the market, but it comes with the highest responsibility. like आपका corporate governance you need to fulfill, you need to utilize the fund in a proper manner according to the object of the issue and all. But it's the disciplined way of raising the capital from the market. Even when we are approaching the company, when we do one-on-one meeting with them, so the last statement which they always tell to us is कि हम हमारे CA या CS से बात करके आपको बताएंगे कि हमको IPO मार्केट में आज जाना चाहिए या कल जाना चाहिए. So it is very important to understand what entrepreneur wants, and as a professional, how we can guide them to come on the platform. Yeah, one way of one reason why they should come on the platform is efficient raising of the capital through the equity mode. Once the company get listed, they have more and more option to raise the fund, the preferential allotment or the QIBs coming in the company. But yeah, all this will depend upon how the growth of the company is, how the company is performing in their business. It increases the visibility and the credibility of the company. So like if any company is there in the IT space, you are, the moment you type in the Google key IT companies in and around Jaipur or Rajasthan, there will be n company which are coming in. But the moment you are typing listed company in the IT space, maybe your company name or your client's company name will be in top 10 or maybe top 50 on a pan-India basis. We never know. So it's always help in creating the visibility. And as you are corporate compliant, it helps in creating the credibility with the bankers, with the clientels which we are dealing. So एक हमेशा होता है कि yeah, we are dealing with the listed company. As a professional also, if we are into practice and we have the listed client, so we highlight that कि yeah, मेरे पास एक company है जो already listed है NSE पे. So it's always adds on to the credibility in the ecosystem. But obviously the company gets the appropriate valuation once they are listed on the platform. Yeah, they need to fulfill the corporate governance norm. And once they fulfill the migration criteria, they can move from the SME platform to the bigger platform, that is the main board. So this is the value proposition on the basis of the asset class which we are preparing. So what we always tell the company, we are creating the additional asset class for you in the form of a equity. So whenever the company is not listed, they don't carry, their shared certificate doesn't carry any value. But the moment they are listed on the platform, it's been the additional asset which has been created. So if the company wants to buy out some company or do the merger or acquisition of a smaller company or a bigger company, instead of giving the currency, they can use, they can do the stock swap deal. The borrowing terms of the company improves because the company is listed, the corporate governance are in place. So we have seen which where the interest rate have been reduced by the bankers from 0.25 to 0.75 basis point. Even this shares can be pledged, can be used as a collateral with the bank in raising more and more bank funding from the market. But yeah, the company needs to make sure they are maintaining the proper debt equity ratio when they are going for a additional loan. Plus, as I said, the company can do the preferential allotment or the QIP. They have the wider networking because the company is listed on the stock exchange. Even they can retain their employees. So we have seen lots of listed company are giving the ESOPs to their employee so that the employee are with the company for a long term, and which always adds the advantage for the growth of the company. As a professional, as an intermediaries, we are here to give them the consultancy services. We need to guide them ki how raising of funds from the market can help you grow more. So basically, if we are providing them with the services before IPO, just before coming on the IPO, like IPO consultancy services, even post that we can give them the corporate governance services, plus we can try to connect them with the various players in the market in the form of investor community or maybe the business community. So there are various opportunities which open ups once the company get listed on the platform. So it's always a win-win situation for the exchange, for the company, for the intermediaries, basically for the ecosystem, which is driving this market. So these are the initiative which we have already discussed. We are always on the ground. We try to connect with all intermediaries, associations, with the companies, do one-on-one meeting with them to help them understand why should they come on the platform. Because we always believe, after meeting so many entrepreneurs, every entrepreneur has different methodology, different thinking. Why should they get listed on the platform? Even we have received the question like, what is the right time? आज market अच्छा है तो क्या हम list कर ले? Sir, market कभी अच्छा रहेगा, कभी बुरा रहेगा. But yeah, when the market is good, it's easy for the company to garner the funds. Vice versa on the market when it is down. But yeah, if the company is on the growing side, we have seen even the QIBs who have invested in the SME companies. So it's always add-ons to the advantage. Even we have done some strategic tie-up with the government bodies where we try to create the awareness, do the awareness sessions with the government bodies, with the local DICs who are involved in dealing with the SME companies in their industrial location. So yeah, even in 2017, we have launched the thematical emerge index. It's just a viewable index, how it has been performed in the secondary market. Though it's not tradable as our flagship Nifty index, just because the companies migrate after maybe 2 years, 3 years from this platform to the another. So there has been drastical fall in the index value at that point of time, because the stock needs to be removed from the SME index when it goes on the main board platform. So even we have regional offices at various locations. So one person is deputed to look after the SME platform. So I am very sure as a professional, you must be knowing my colleague Rakesh Kurana from Delhi office. So he usually travels, takes care of the northern region, and he frequently travels in the Jaipur area also. So this is from my side, Rakesh ji. If we have any query, I'm ready to take it.
Thank you, Jayesh bhai.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
You have widely explained the subject SME IPO, that is an alternate source of finance. Really, it is a interactive session and wonderful session you have covered. Now, friends, we are having some question answer sessions. If anybody have the questions, please raise their hand. Otherwise, we have some questions which will be answered by both the speakers. If anybody have the question, please raise hands. Amarji, I am putting one question. Amarji, instead of following complex listing process and have more compliances, will it be good idea to opt for the venture capital funding?
See, Rakesh, there are 6.5 crore MSMEs which are there right now. Okay, and practically speaking, the kind of venture capital funds which are active in India, there are a few hundred funds which are active in India. It might be a good idea to get funding from the venture capital fund, but not every company will be in a position to get the VC funding. So practically what can be done? Perhaps alternate option can be to get yourself listed, and then even after listing, you can attract funding from the venture capital funds, PE funds. You are having additional option of having mutual fund as well. So a lot of avenues will be available for you. Practically speaking, getting listed on the stock exchange is something which can be a value addition activity. And if some of the stock, many of the PE funds, VC funds are more comfortable in getting invested into a listed company. So it can be a desirable activity for you. Of course, there will be some compliances, additional compliances, but that comes as a package.
Right. We are having few questions got from the participant. That is, one is how much cost and time does the process of listing takes if all the documents are in order? Please explain.
Yeah, so Amarji, I would like to take this other than the cost part. But yeah, sir, the timing which you are asking is very crucial and the most important question in the IPO. So we always believe with the, if as you said, ki if the documentation is there or documentation are in place, which can be shared with the merchant banker, then maybe offer document may get prepared within a month's time or maybe 2 months time. And once they are filed with the exchange, exchange will take around 2 to 3 weeks to give you the in principle approval. After that, you are ready to hit the market. But on the SME side, that it's the family owned business. So we typically give the maximum time for the decision making for an entrepreneur to make decision to come for the IPO. So the longest time which we have seen, which we have experience of while dealing with so many SMEs, is to just prepare their mindset, to change their mindset from the family-owned business to a public-driven, to a public listed, to drive the business as a public listed company. So that is the maximum amount of time which has been there. So which can be, yeah, judged from the numbers which have got listed on the platform. Like till date, only 222 companies have been listed on the SME platform. But we have lakh number of SMEs who might be planning beside. So yeah, and the cost part, I guess, Amarji, you will be in a better position to guide on the cost part.
Yeah, I see. Jayesh has already covered everything. As far as costing is concerned, I can tell you for sure that this is the cheapest form of listing avenue which is available at this point of time, which comes at a fraction of the cost which can be otherwise applicable for getting listed on the main board. Of course, it is always linked with the case-to-case basis, but there are a lot of IPOs, there are a lot of listings which are happen at a cost of less than 50 lakh rupees. So practically speaking, you can assume that this is, you can certainly expect that this is the best, cheapest and confirmed source of getting listed on the stock exchange.
Thank you. One last question. Which option is better, SME listing, IPO on the main board, or the reverse merge?
Jayesh bhai.
I was thinking you should take this question. So I will just give you the brief key. If the company is eligible to go on the main board platform, but obviously they may plan for the main board IPO only. But here we have seen the companies who have raised almost more than 30-40 crores on the SME exchange. And though they were eligible to come on the main board platform, but as the company is running into the family business, so they wanted to get themselves listed on the SME platform, get their all the corporate governance norm and everything in place, and then move to the main board platform. So it doesn't make difference till the time the company is planning to get listed on the platform, whether it's the SME platform or the main board platform. Yeah, with comparison to the reverse merger, I guess Amarji will be in a better position. We always believe if the company is eligible to come with the IPO, why should they go for the reverse merger? So, but yeah, I guess Amarji has done various reverse merger in this market, so he may guide you in a better way. Yes, sir.
Thanks, Jayesh bhai. I fully agree with what Jayesh bhai had told. If the company is eligible to come out with an IPO, why should it go for reverse merger? But there are certain reasons in which companies can come out with reverse merger, or they can adopt any of the strategies, like what Mr. Poonawalla had done. Instead of coming out with an IPO of Poonawalla Finance, they acquired a company called Magma Fincorp. They got it renamed, and they're doing very well. So it happens in many of the cases. Many of the cases, demerger is happening. A lot of strategies are there. But the most important part, which is applicable, which is to be kept in mind, is to get listed, because listing is going to add the value. Whether you are getting yourself listed on SME exchange, main board, which kind of a strategy is there, everything is independent. Two lines on this. मंजिल तो मिल जाएगी भटक कर ही सही, गुमराह तो वो है जो घर से निकले ही नहीं. So value has to be created, listing has to be done. Strategy is independent of this.
Thank you very much for this wonderful question answer session. Now I invite C. Ankit Maheshwari ji, Secretary of the Jaipur branch, for the formal vote of thanks. Ankit ji, please. Ankit ji. I think there is some network issue. Anyway, I perform this vote of thanks, and I thank to all the participants, both the speakers and my professional colleagues attended this wonderful session. Thank you very much. Thanks to Jaipur branch. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone,
you.
and stay safe.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be here with all of you today. So nice of you. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.